Welcome to VidZet, your home for careful consideration of our common concerns. I'm Dr. Ted Noel. In the months since we last discussed Nancy Pelosi's health, she has continued to provide us with entertainment due to her many verbal stumbles and gaffes. Let's review a few key facts. Pelosi is 77 years old. She has lots of odd facial expressions, but these aren't due to Parkinson's disease. Instead, my sources tell me that it's almost certain these are manifestations of tardive dyskinesia. This is a side effect of medications, and a lot of meds can cause it. The most common ailments that these meds are prescribed for are psychiatric, but one of the videos you'll see shortly is of a young person with stomach problems. Now, we haven't seen much evidence for mental disorders other than liberalism with Princess Pelosi, but that could be due to good long-term psychiatric management. Let's look at some patients with tardive dyskinesia. You'll notice unusual face and mouth movements. Those are the most common problems TD causes.
Hey guys, so I wanted to put out a video just to discuss some about tardive dyskinesia. Tardive dyskinesia is a disease, well basically a disease, I'd say brain damage caused from psychiatric drugs. So psychiatric drugs, they can also be known as psychotropic drugs, what are called medications for people with what are known as people with mental illness.
It's been difficult to have conversations with my family and friends, which usually, if I'm comfortable and talking like to people that I'm familiar with.
Hey YouTube, I'm really sorry about the background noise, and I'm really sorry it's like completely sort of loud outside, but obviously feel free to try and ignore that because I can't control that unfortunately, so I apologise for that. They're doing building work outside my house, and it's
Next, we're going to see some of Pelosi's moments. She's had Botox injections to block the facial twitches that show up so often in tardive dyskinesia.
While it's only a couple of weeks since the inauguration, there's complete evidence, we've seen nothing that we can work, well, I can work with President Bush on, and I'm disappointed.
Oh, look at that one. Pelosi is so unplugged that even Maxine Waters is wondering what's going on.
A wall is ineffective, expensive, immoral, and where there might be some places where it's useful from a security and a mutually agreed upon protection for each side to have some structure. Let's see what that is. His kowtowing to the president, effectively saying from the GOP tax scam for the rich that added up $2 trillion or more. The president said he was going to move for negotiation. I'm going to negotiate, what was it? Like crazy. The actions of the Trump administration as related to the rule of the law. That the Trump administration and the Trump family have eagerly intended to collude a hostile foreign policy to influence an American election. John Kasich, the governor of Illinois, said, "Thank God for Medicaid." As Martin Luther King said, of all the inequality you've seen, the most damaging, and he used a different word, is the inequality of access to health care. Last week, soybean futures hit a 9-year low. Soybean futures hit a 9-year low. Pork producers, corn growers, and wheat growers are reeling too. That's so far this week. The Supreme Court's radical Janus decision will have drastic, destructive, and long-standing impacts. They have reduced the leverage of workers in our country. Reduced their leverage for, again, collective bargaining, raised the standard. So here we are. We have a better, this is a raw deal, we have a better deal.
By now, you see lots of TD signs in Pelosi's movements, and that's not the end of the story. Last time we talked about how Princess Pelosi may have stage 3 Alzheimer's disease, but that we can't make a firm diagnosis because we aren't privy to inside information. Even with that restriction, my experts tell me that her verbal gaffes are part of a syndrome called mixed dementia. Basically, there are 3 kinds of dementia that have single causes. With Felonia Milhouse von Pantsuit, we've discussed Parkinson's dementia. This is the second most common form of dementia, and it screws with your ability to reason. When Pelosi scrambles her sentences, that's typical of a reasoning problem. But the most common form of dementia is Alzheimer's. Its biggest feature is short-term memory loss. With Pelosi, we see those lapses where she forgets the president's name or some other prominent fact. So Alzheimer's seems possible, and as we noted in our prior podcast, she fits the criteria for possible stage 3 Alzheimer's. But something interesting ties these together. Almost half of Alzheimer's patients show Lewy bodies in their brains when autopsied. Lewy bodies are very common in Parkinson's disease and are the key to a Parkinson variant called Lewy body dementia. This means that it's entirely possible that Nancy Pelosi, the master legislator, likely has a mixed dementia with features of both Alzheimer's and Parkinson's dementias. Let's throw one more log on this fire. The third kind of dementia, vascular dementia, is unrelated to the first 2. As you get older, it's common to see reduced blood flow to parts of the brain. This can cause silent strokes, which show up as lacunar infarcts on CT or MRI scans. These tiny strokes manifest as declining mental skills. At postmortem examination, 80% of all patients over 80 years old have evidence of mixed dementia. They often have elements of all 3 forms of dementia. This makes it hard to decide which one we're seeing at a given moment. It may be that what Pelosi is demonstrating is a complex of signs related to 4 separate problems. Pelosi has tardive dyskinesia. She hasn't revealed which medication caused it or the problem she took that medication for. It's likely that it was a psychiatric diagnosis, but we can be pretty sure she wasn't given it for being a liberal, even though liberalism is a mental disorder. She's getting Botox injections to make it less obvious. Her verbal gaffes are probably related to a progressive mixed dementia with elements similar to Alzheimer's, Parkinson, and vascular dementia. Curiously, with all her problems, her constituents reelected her again with over 60% of the vote. One has to wonder what that says about them. Beam me up, Scotty. There's no intelligent life down here. Thanks for watching. Until next time, please support VidZet on Patreon, like us on Facebook, and follow @VidZet on Twitter. I'm Dr. Ted Noel.